And we are live. Welcome, everyone. I will do a sound check in a few moments. First of all, this channel is proudly partnered with the What the Funk shop. Please check out their store for all sorts of products. They have dice, miniatures, Game Master screens, home decorations, and many other things. You will find the link in the description and in the pinned comment. Make sure that you use my code for a special discount. A moment, please, while I check the sound. Sounds good. Tonight, I am continuing the White Album visual novel. We are in a very important part. It's supposed to be at least one of the decisive dates for the Yayoi routes. Full screen. Now then, where should I go today? I know it's in the next day because the 21st? Uh-huh. Hmm. Those choices are a bit too lukewarm, but we shall go with Misaki. I'm going to school today. Excuse me. I'm eating oatmeal. I got a little shard of cinnamon stuck in my throat. Oh, it's Misaki. Misaki. Oh, Fuji. Hello. Hello, what's going on? She looks like she wants to chat. Chat about what? Oh, look, the romance option has been completely removed. That means we are really into the Yayoi route. Very far ahead. By the way, what do you usually do on your days off, Misaki? We hang out from time to time, but not nearly as often as I do with Haruka or Akira. I'm guessing you go out with your friends, right? Yeah, well, sometimes. Though, to be honest, I'm still not used to hanging out with my friends. That's how she is. Because of that, I'm always grateful when they ask me out first. Yeah, I mean, I don't really drink, and I'm not the best singer, so karaoke is out. I feel like hanging out with me is pretty boring. So sometimes I feel like I end up getting invited places out of pity. I'm sure that's not true. Never mind. Wow. She really doesn't seem to realize just how much people like her. She has that inferiority complex. Not very, confident. She may be on the introverted side, but it's not like people consciously group their friends by whether or not they are usually up for a good time. But you said you like getting invited to things, right? I guess so. I know so, and you're an incredibly likable person, so I'm sure you're invited to tons of things. There's no way she can be that oblivious. If I play White Album again later on in the future, in a month or two, I would definitely consider this one as a route because there is so much more to Misaki. She has this boring exterior to her, but there is a lot more complexity to her personality. There's no way she can be that oblivious. Be more aware. Aware? Yes, of how much people like you. It's almost painfully unfair how often the most popular person is the least aware of that fact. To everyone involved in a lot of ways. You know, people often don't notice that kind of thing. Oh, don't they? Maybe Misaki doesn't, but I don't think most people are that much like Misaki. Hehehe, you'd be surprised. I guess anything is possible. Ooh, the day of the date. This is the day. Yayoi is coming to Echoes today. Now where should I go? Better save. And what's the correct option? Go with her. I'm working at Echoes today. I head over to the cafe. It's another slow day, with barely any customers. Welcome. Yayoi. She's here, just like she said she'd be. She stops before me, watching me curiously. I can almost hear in the background that song. It's a black magic woman. Got a black magic woman. You're working today? Yes. Your usual seat in the back is open if you want it. I try to look as casual as possible while pointing it out. But considering there's not a single customer in the cafe, I just look awkward. But in response, she says, "Thank you." And she bows her head slightly in my direction. Got any plans for after you finish up work for the night? Oh, now she's completely into us. Nothing major. I answer somewhat vaguely. Going to see Yuki? I wish. I blurt out immediately. Being vague only seems to heighten her suspicions. But no matter the distance between us or the time spent apart, my love for my girlfriend remains steadfast. This guy, he slips around, and it's part of his psychological problem. Let me tell you about that psychological problem because I don't think it will be revealed. But in the anime, they revealed that when Toya was very little, like 5 years old or around that age, 5, 6, he was walking around with his kitty friends, right? These 2 other girls, Yuki and another girl. The one that is very flat, that looks autistic. They walk around and they were attacked by a group of bullies, much older kids. They started to harass them, pushing them, hitting them. So Toya was the only guy. He was the guy, and there were 2 girls. So he had to defend them, right, in some way. And the only thing he could think of, because he was not as strong as those guys, the only thing that he could do to defend them was to pee on his own hands and start chasing them with the pee on his hands. And the bullies got terrified, grossed out, and they ran away. But that marked Toya for the rest of his life. His interactions with women completely distorted because his manliness at the same time was the source of his shame. So that's why he's sleeping around with so many women. He cannot make that strong or steadfast, solid connection with a woman. So when he sleeps with a woman, is to distance himself from the other women. That's his issue. I see. I was wondering if you'd allow me to drive you home after you finish up. And do what? Do what exactly? She watches me silently. She's simply waiting for my response. Go with her, of course. Of course, we are all in. Sure, I'd appreciate it. That's actually false. But I'm sure word about this would get back to Yuki. If anyone she knows where to spot us. Great, in that case, I'll stick around until it's time to clock out. Can I trouble you for an herb tea? An herb tea? A herb tea. No problem. Surprisingly, Yayoi is the first to act normally for once. That's a really good sign. She then sits at her usual spot in the back, quietly flipping through some kind of gardening magazine. Those women that have that cold exterior, some of them, you hit jackpot. If they don't have any other issues, if you manage to melt that ice, you're going to find a very affectionate person. But it's still up to them. I actually once, I don't know if you could call it dates, but I used to hang out a bit with what you would consider an ice queen. And the moment when I managed to melt that ice to get a bit closer to her emotionally, she basically threw herself at me. Probably the most intense, so far, the most intense and surprising moment when a woman just throws herself spontaneously and you don't expect it. And she gives you a big wet kiss, and you can feel her breasts pressing against you so strongly. You can see that they put that ice wall because they are in such craving for affection. Sadly, later on, she couldn't deal with her personal issues. It didn't work out. When it starts to get close to closing time, she stands up from her seat. I'll be waiting for you outside. She then leaves the cafe. As I step out of the empty building, I glance around. Parked along the opposite curb, I spot a solitary black vehicle. It's Yayoi. We sit in silence during the car ride. I simply stare out the window. Outside, the world drifts past us. That was an uneventful ride. Oh, and we go immediately. Sorry for barging in. We go immediately into the apartment. Down to business, right? She steps inside my apartment before turning back. The person standing before me is Yayoi. Her face a constant blank slate of emotion. Why can't it be Yuki instead? He really needs to let go. She looks at me somewhat curiously. I wish I could simply turn my thoughts off. All that matters is she's here for me, right? And once this period of my life is over, I'll be able to return to Yuki's side once more. Such a twisted notion of relationships on the part of Toya. Yayoi chuckles softly. It's a mechanical, inorganic gesture. Ahaha. Ahaha. Everything about this is wrong. Nothing makes sense. I embrace her. Yayoi. I whisper her name. My worms? My arms wrapped around her. I tell you that the editing this game, the visual novel. The name of the last person I want to be holding right now. She gently hugs me back. That's her answer. Then she softly presses her lips against mine. They should have used another image. They already used this image in a previous part. It's the only time she's ever gentle. The rest of it spent with her roughly manipulating my body in painfully paralyzing ways. I'm always left with that faint herbal scent, that perfume of foliage. Take command, Toya. They like it. They like it when you take command. When I was very young, and I didn't know anything about women, I was crashing, of course, trying to get a date. And one of the upperclassmen approached me, a woman. You can tell that they had a really nice relationship going. That is, it was her boyfriend. She was sitting with her boyfriend, all lovey-dovey, and she saw me when I got rejected, and she stepped away from her boyfriend. The boyfriend, in perfect confidence that she is not looking for another guy, and she told me, "Women want you to take them," and she took my arm like really forcefully. She smiled and she went back to her boyfriend. That was a very adult thing to do, and I'm really grateful for that. That small gesture taught me so much about women. When she pulls her lips back from mine, I catch a glimpse of her pale pink tongue between her cheek. Between her teeth. Between her cheek. She's torturing me again, relentlessly sucking my feelings for Yuki out of my heart. She doesn't even look at me, caring only for my reaction. Just like a machine. Give a banana if the light's yellow and an apple if the light's red, turning me on like it's her job. This is nothing more than an agreement. That's how she sees it. Does she? And yet, an act that should be so full of pleasure and love feels sadly empty when she does it. That thought only grows stronger with each mechanical manipulation from her cold hands. Her expression never changes. She nonchalantly runs her fingers through her long hair, flinging it back. And in that second, our eyes meet. Hey. She chuckles quietly. It's a gesture so slight that it's completely unreadable. Yet it's almost painfully erotic. A shudder runs down my lower abdomen. That's weird, finding chuckles erotic. That's weird. That laugh of hers is enough to sap whatever bit of resistance I'd been clinging to. A wave of pleasure crashes over me, and it's not long after my sultry skin grows cool to the touch. My sultry skin? Her sultry skin, perhaps. I lie there on my bed, as lifeless as a corpse. Meanwhile, Yayoi uses both hands to tenaciously wipe her face with a piece of tissue paper. And then our eyes meet again. Sorry for using all your tissues. Oh yeah, are you going to need your tissues later? She says without the slightest hint of emotion in her voice. I can't bring myself to respond. She stops, perhaps in response to my silence, and then peers into my face almost suspiciously. Are you satisfied? Do you still want more? I nod my head, the feeling unbearable. Do you want more service? My body is still burning up. She doesn't hesitate for even a second before once again torturing me into a pathetic mess of a human. That moment, my cowardice rears its ugly head. How long are we going to keep doing this? I murmur quietly, struggling to remain conscious. She briefly stops. Does that mean you're still lonely despite my company? Ooh. That's not going to do any favors for Yayoi. Now she's losing that small thread of connection he had with Toya. No, that's not what I'm saying. I feel as if I've long since forgotten what I should be doing or why. I don't even know what I'm asking or what answer I want. I just want to know how long. As long as you want, of course. And with that, he begins tormenting me once more. As long as I want. I replay her words in my mind. That's right. I wanted this. That's why I invited her over, right? You wanted her to make you feel good despite the complete lack of love, which is exactly what you got. There's a part of me that blames myself for cheating. You got the life you've always dreamed of, so why not just enjoy it while you can? That's right. I did want this, and I made the choice to have this normal life. And you made that choice without a single thought as to who you might hurt in the process like a child. That's because part of Toya is still trapped in childhood. It was a kid, that kid that peed on his hands to protect, like I tell you in personal story, protect those girls. He never got past that moment in his life. Yayoi.
Hi.
Yes? Yayoi, you don't love me at all, right?
Eh.
Correct. That's what I thought. Mumbling to myself, I take her hand in mine before roughly pressing it against myself. There needs to be a delicate balance of affection and non-affection. If you love the person too much, sometimes the sex is not as exciting because you're constantly thinking about the other person. You stop seeing the other person as the object of your desire. But if you view the other person as just that, as the object of your desire, then she turns into an object in your mind, and you stop treating that person with warmth and kindness. So you need that balance. You need to be at the very middle. If I can defile her body with the stench of mine, then this relationship between us isn't all bad. Even if the gesture itself is superficial at best. Even as her nails leave bloody scratches on my skin. It's enough. I don't care what else happens. I know that I've let my overwhelming despair take over, at least for the night. That's why usually, like the bad boys, they have those exciting experiences with women, because usually they don't respect women, so so they focus completely on them as the objects of their desire. That's when the nice guys usually do not generate that excitement with women because they forgot to treat them also as the object of their desire. And in the case of bad guys, they usually don't form lasting connections or relationships because in their case, they forgot to treat them like human beings. When it's time for her to go, I find myself inexplicably on the verge of tears. You need to be in the balance, yin yang, black and white, light and darkness. There's no reason why, but still, I can feel the dam. I can feel the dam about to burst. That scent of foliage lingers eternally. 22nd. Now then, where should I go today? First he's like, oh no, I'm gonna cry, and then, now then, where should I go today? Let's save the game. Let me check something. It's until the 4th. No, 29th. I see. Okay, this is going to be it for today when it comes to White Album. I will continue the day after tomorrow. Probably. Thank you for watching this live stream. In less than 20 minutes, I am going to be streaming, well, in about 20 minutes, Grand Blue Fantasy vs. Ranked matches. And thank you so much to those of you that are going the extra mile to support the channel. Anyone else wishes to further support the channel, consider joining as a member using the Super Thanks button. Like, subscribe. Take a look at the information in the description, the pinned comment. This has been your host, Abraham L. Jaguar, and remember, level up in game and level up in life. Once again, thank you and see you later.